Today we're going to talk about the astable multivibrator using two bipolar transistors, NPN. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to build one of those RadioShack Science Fair project, which happens to be like a blinking LED, and it's based on the astable multivibrator. So this is the 16-in-1 electronic project lab science fair from RadioShack, and it's actually a very good one. This one, 16-in-1, you have some good stuff in there. Let me show you what's in there. I don't know if you can read it, but I'm just gonna go through I'm just gonna go to the oscillator that I'm gonna build. It's this one. Okay, so oscillator circuit. Here it is. So it's a 2 transistor setup. So on the left they call it Q2, on the right they call it Q1, 2 NPN. You have 2 capacitors, one at 470 micro, one at 47. And what they did is that on the right side, so on the collector of Q1, they put a LED. So what's gonna happen is that it's gonna flash. Okay, I don't know, maybe it's better here. Okay, so that's the project I'm gonna look into. But there are some pretty cool projects here. I'm just gonna go to the end. There's some amplifiers. Hold on, let me see. Here you can build the invisible power radio. That's pretty cool. Here you have a radio and an amplifier. Look at this thing. Pretty cool. What else they got? Metal detector, radio station. I suppose it's an emitter, AM emitter. Not bad. At the end, they even have a push-pull amplifier. Look at this thing. Pretty nice. Well, the only problem with those projects is that they don't explain why it works the way it does. But of course, if you were to explain that, I mean, this thing would be like 600 pages. So that would be a problem. But other than that, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's see. Let's see the board. Okay, so let me get the light better. I hope it's gonna work. Okay, so here I already put all the wires in the right places, so you don't have to worry about me going through the actual building of the thing. So here it is. I just follow the circuit. Very simple. Alright, so this is the last connection to the battery. Okay, so it does flash. It's very slow. Okay, very slow. Of course, if you change the capacitor values, it should flash even slower or faster. But that's the idea. Okay, so I did make a video about how an astable multivibrator works. So I'll put a link upper right now, and you can check that out. I did go in depth on why it works, but we can look at the manual here and see what's cooking. I mean, it's not obvious, but if you look at this thing, okay, so let's say that Q2 on the left is off. What's gonna happen is that the plus plate of the capacitor on the left is gonna go towards the 3 volts. So at some point it's gonna reach 3 volts. The other plate of the capacitor is gonna be at 0.6 because the other transistor is on, the one on the right. So you get a differential of 2.4 volts. The instant Q2 turns on, the plus plate of the capacitor on the left is going to go to 0, and it's going to force right away the other plate. So the other plate, so it's the other plate of the capacitor on the left, it's going to go to minus 2.4. Okay, and at some point the capacitor is gonna recharge. So maybe it would be a good idea to, let me see if I can get this focus. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the scope. I think I'm gonna scope the two plates. I'm gonna scope. I don't know if I have a pointer here, but I'm gonna scope this side of the capacitor and that side, and then I'll probably go to the other side. But it's symmetric. I mean, kind of symmetric. Okay, so let's go into the. Let me set up the oscilloscope and we'll look at it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here I'm plotting. So the yellow trace is. So the yellow trace is the yellow trace. The yellow trace is the 27. So the plus side of the capacitor on the left, and the blue trace is the 28, so the right side of the capacitor on the left. Okay, so let me stop. You cannot really see, you cannot tell the color, can you? Okay, so basically this one is the yellow trace. This is the bluish trace. Okay, so the yellow trace, you can see the capacitor. So when Q1 is the capacitor on the left is off, you have that plate that it's going to charge. So the plate on the left is going to go to 3 volts. It's going to go to 3 volts here. So that's the plate on the left, and this one on the right, it stays at the bias of the other transistor at 0.6. Okay, so that's the 0.6. And then this moment here is when Q1 turns on. So what happened is that the capacitor on the left, and its left plate is going to drop to 0 when when the transistor on the left turns on. It's going to go to 0, and at the exact same time the other plate is going to go to minus 2.4. Okay, and then it's going to basically reverse the charge, so it's showing a charge again here. Okay, so that's the other plate, the right plate, this one. Let me switch to the other one. So it's basically the same, but here you have a LED. So here what I'm showing, let me here you have the LED in the collector to emitter path. So okay, so here I put it, so the yellow trace is gonna be 24, so the left plate of the capacitor on the right, and the blue trace is gonna be 23, the right plate of the capacitor on the right. Yep. So basically you have the same thing. So here this is the yellow trace, so you have the charging to 3.3 volt. Then as soon as when the transistor on the right is off, it charges to 3 volts. Then as soon as the transistor on the right turns on, it drops to 0. And at the same time the other plate has to drop 2.4 volts, so it's over there, and it's gonna reverse the charge. Okay, so yeah, so that so if you're interested in electronics, I highly recommend getting a book or two, and getting one of those RadioShack project lab. You don't need the fancy ones with like 200 or 300 stuff. You just need I mean, if you can find them, but you can get the 60. I mean, those things when they were new, it was like 10 bucks, 15 bucks. And if you cannot find them, the RadioShack stuff, you can always get the L&Co. I think L&Co still produces those things. You can find them on Amazon. And they also sell those snap circuits that are pretty cool. It's L&Co. So if you go on Amazon and you search for L&Co snap circuit, I don't remember the exact name, snap circuit, there's 60 project, 100 project, 150, 200, I don't remember. But if you get like something with 100 projects, I'm sure you're gonna find oscillators, amplifiers, radios, and that should get you started. But get a book also. And the books, I mean, I got tons of books, so some are better than others depending on the subject. So it's hard to give a it's hard to favor a book over others, because some are better than others depending on the project, depending on the subject. Some are very theoretical. They don't really explain how they get their formulas, and some have a lot of explanation, sometimes too much. But yeah, so you want the ones that are purely theoretical, and you want the ones that are more practical. I think you want to have both of them, both types of books. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here, and this was my first video where I show my workshop, my desk. I mean, I prefer to do more theoretical stuff, but sometimes, I mean, you have to show the practical side of the thing. All right, I'm gonna stop here. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll make more for sure. All right, bye.